Now, my candidate has received a preliminary information device and also 1, 2, 3, or 4 copies of the company's product line. What happens next? Well, what happens next is very simple. It's the next step in the process, and what we do is call back. It's just that simple. We call back. When do we call back? When we said we would. That's when we call back. We call back when we said we would. And now I call back, and what do I say? It's contained on the invitation. I'm taught exactly what to say. And it goes something like this. Colin, did you listen to the CD? It's not too complicated. Did you listen to the CD? The answer is yes or no. If the answer is no, you're taught what to say. If the answer is yes, you're taught what to say. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Let's assume that Colin is a candidate. Colin reviews a CD. He tries a product sample. Colin, did you listen? Yes, I did. It's logical at this point that he has a question. Well, gosh, if I'm a brand new team member, if I joined last week, if I joined 4 days ago, and Colin asks me a question, I've probably got a problem here because I don't have the answer. What do? I have the discipline to rely upon the system. And what's the next step in the system? It is to engage in a three-way call. That's it. It's a three-way phone call. Colin asks me a question. Colin, that is an absolutely great question. I'm glad you asked it because you know what? I want to learn while you learn. Would you mind if I added Tom to this call? Because Tom's been at this longer than I have, and as you learn, I can learn too. Would that be all right with you? Now notice what I just did was really, really important. I'm brand new to the business here. I don't need to pretend anything other than that. One of the mistakes that I see people make in our industry and our company again and again is they're brand new. They haven't even earned their first dollar, and for some reason they feel like they've got to present themselves as an expert. Far from it. If Colin asks me a question and I'm brand new at this, gosh, Colin, that is a great question. I'm so glad that you asked it because I'm eager to learn too. Would you mind if I added Tom to this call? And now I get to be just one step removed. I'm emotionally, my emotions are all tied up in Colin's decision because he's my candidate. Tom's emotions aren't all tied up in that same reality. It's very, very different. He's set aside. And you know, there's an interesting thing about human nature. If Colin knows me really well, I promise you this. My life has proven this to me 50 times over. He will ask me far more difficult questions than he will ask Tom. Why? Because I presented Tom as an expert, one who has the answers, and Colin knows if I'm brand new to the business, I don't have the answers. Okay, so what's the next step in the process? It's to engage in a three-way call. Next assignment, go back over to the Agile Universe Group website. One of those stored trainings is called three-way calling. It's presented by Ann Feinstein. She does an absolutely fabulous job. She teaches you what to say and what not to say. I hope already at this early stage, and this very earliest moment, I hope you are correctly understanding that it's not so much about the skill set that you bring, it's about your willingness to be coached, to be guided specifically and exactly through what we described as what? A proven and predictable pattern of activities. Okay. And so now, what do? We learn how to create and maintain a candidate list. We learn how to properly invite. This grants us the opportunity to be a conduit to a system. We select, and you get together with your sponsor, with your personal upline, and you learn. What does he or she recommend as that preliminary information device? Whatever it is, works fine. Okay, and now identify what will be the preliminary information device, determine what will be the product samples. Now we place that tool with a product sample. That leads to a follow-up phone call, which leads to a three-way call. The entire purpose of the three-way call is to do what? It is to help you successfully conduct your first PBR. What is a PBR? It is a private business reception. My guess is that when you were introduced to Agile, what should have occurred, now you know what should have occurred. You should have received a brief, concise phone call along with some piece of information for you to review, which led to a three-way phone call, and then you should have been invited to a team member's home. A PBR, a private business reception. What is it? It's when a handful, 7 to 10 candidates, qualified candidates. What makes them a qualified candidate? The fact that they've had this experience. They've listened to a CD, they've tried a product sample, they opted in to a follow-up phone call. They were able to ask a couple of questions, and they then accepted an invitation to participate in this private business reception. This is easy, not hard, folks. Is this not easy? Well, what could be more easy? They've already opted in, opted in, opted in. There is a very, very warm, easy, comfortable crowd.